Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. We will dig into it. President Yoweri Museveni yesterday met and held discussions with a delegation from Italy at State House in Entebbe. The delegation was led by Mr. Mario Savona, the Deputy Head of Mission and Church Affairs ad interim of Italy in Uganda. During the meeting, Mr. Savona informed the President that the new Italian President of Council of Ministers, Giorgia Meloni, wants to renew Italy's relations with African countries. President Museveni responded in affirmative. He also affirmed that Uganda can work well with Italy since the European country has for years been contributing to the development of Africa. On the other hand, Mr. Savona also revealed that next year Italy will have the presidency of G77 and Africa will have a central role because they believe in the opportunities and potential of the continent. He further informed President Museveni that Italy is ready to support Uganda to produce high added value crops through agricultural technology. Another opposition wing in Parliament has described the recent directives by the Speaker of the House regarding the boycott as a diversion. Leader of opposition in Parliament, Mathias Mpuuga, says their absence in plenary was official. Speaker Anita Among, during Wednesday afternoon session, issued strict directives to counter the opposition who have for the last week's boycotted plenary. The new directives, which the Speaker issued, demand for a written apology from the accused MPs to her, direct the clerk to Parliament to exclude them from any travel and committee seatings, among others. Mpuuga has addressed the media briefing at Parliament, where he reveals that the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda will determine their fate. Police Council.
On Wednesday afternoon, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, echoed strict directives to immunize the move by the opposition to boycott Parliament sitting.
We take personal liability who were voted in individually, not as a team. Nobody chased anyone out. Come back at will. Free entry exit. So please come back at will.
Speaker, whose directive sounded as a last warning, wants the protesters to be excluded from various travel and attending any committee, among others.
If members have decided to be out of the House, then that means they should also not be in the committees, because a committee is an extension of the House.
However, the leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga, reveals that the ongoing opposition boycott was formally communicated to the presiding officer of Parliament.
The beauty about us is that we communicate, and when we communicate, it's officialdom. How it is treated is not our space. Our duty, our obligation is to communicate our intentions, because our intentions are guided by the law.
Mpuuga puts the blame on the delayed response by government after the agreed period of 30 days expired on 19th November 2023.
In the meeting with the Speaker, General Muhwezi re-echoed the commitment. In fact, he was very clear to the effect that they will comprehensively respond to the issues for which our demands remain unanswered. All they're waiting for is the time given to them, probably they are doing more preparation.
As the opposition vows to continue with the protest, Mpuuga bases on the Constitution of Uganda to determine their fate in case their move is caught offside by the Parliament's rules of procedure.
Anything, the rules and what are subordinate legislations. They are secondary, they are subsidiary, and therefore they cannot supersede the Constitution and its command.
Daniel Mugoya, Shamim Naiga, UBC News.
Now, during the 27th Police Council at Naguru Police Headquarters, Minister for Internal Affairs General Kahinda Utafire issued a directive to the Uganda Police emphasizing the necessity of devolving the Professional Standards Unit to district levels, this to ensure and promote fair service to officers under scrutiny.
The council, operating under the theme Consolidating Modern Proactive Community Policing Through Technology for a Secure and Prosperous Society.
To assess implementation levels as well as missing links. And 3, to recognize achievements and formulate strategies to overcome the dynamic policing demands of the ever-changing environment.
It aims to bolster officers' technological skills in managing an ever-evolving crime landscape, as highlighted by the Inspector General of Police, John Martin Zokoth Ochola.
Our overriding purpose in this year's Police Council is to raise the ambitions of our commitments to keep within reach of our goal of modernizing policing through science and technology.
Minister Utafile's presence at the opening of this two-day engagement signifies the government's commitment to enhancing officers' welfare and operational efficacy.
If I've been in the force for 10 years and I would not move from police constable to something else, then it means I'm useless. Now why should the police maintain people who are of no value? Either you promote them, assess them, promote them, or discard them.
His specific directive to decentralize the Professional Standards Unit of the police aligns with efforts to expedite justice processes involving officers facing inequalities.
We should have sub-committees of the Police Standards Unit at regional level and at the district level, so that we can have issues of the police and the public addressed at the local level and come to headquarters. When
the Police Council, chaired by the IGP and supported by his deputy, directors, heads of various police units and regional police commanders, serves as the force's second governing body. It convenes annually for policy review and strategic planning. Abdul Naseli Lubama for UBC.
Now, the iconic Mandela National Stadium is undergoing a major facelift, transforming it into a world-class sporting arena. The stadium, also known as Mbale, is being upgraded to meet FIFA and CAF standards, ensuring it can host international matches and tournaments. For the first time, UBC's Sharon Chomjisha takes us inside the stadium, bringing us closer to the magnificent work being done by the UPDF Engineering Brigade.
National Stadium refurbishment project nears completion. The UPDF Engineers Brigade is working tirelessly to put the finishing touches on this impressive transformation of the stadium. From above, the national colors stand out. These colors are painted on the VIP and VVIP seats in the covered stands. The playing surface, the heart of any football stadium, is receiving meticulous attention. A blend of Kentucky bluegrass, renowned for its resilience under heavy foot traffic and adaptability to shade and drought, and Bermuda grass perfectly suited for Uganda's climate, is being laid and carefully nurtured. This lush green carpet will be maintained to a pristine 1-inch height, providing an ideal playing surface for footballers of all levels. The upgrades extend far beyond the pitch. The entrance and exit areas are being modernized, incorporating a state-of-the-art ticket and access control system, ensuring a smooth and efficient flow of spectators.
There were these manual entrances, but now stand styles have been made. They are 70 in number, and then per second 600 people can enter. And we expect within 15 to 30 minutes the stadium will be full. Then if there is, in case of another in case of any danger or what, we expect within 40 minutes people have left the stadium. So all those risk measures have been taken into consideration.
A major highlight at the stadium is a dedicated operating area for video assistant referees, which will enable them make accurate and timely decisions using the latest technology. An anti-doping area that adheres to strict international standards, safeguarding the integrity of the sport, is another new addition. For players, new facilities are being constructed to enhance their training and game preparation. Lieutenant Colonel Peter Kidemuka, the project engineer for Mandela National Stadium, is proud of the progress made so far. His enthusiasm is evident as he oversees the final stages of the project.
The second phase now was for upgrade and renovation of Mandela Stadium. It had a lot of work, where it was a total overhaul of mechanical and electrical works, and then civil works. The civil works, as I talk now, are all done. They are all done around 95%. The others are these simple patches, painting, and the rest ongoing. And then the M&E, first fix is done 100%, second fix is done 100%. What is remaining are the fixtures and fittings.
With the arrival of imported floodlights, scoreboards, and on-pitch sound system and goal line technology equipment, the stadium will be fully equipped to meet the highest international standards. The UPDF Engineers Brigade is eagerly awaiting these final components to complete their mission, dusting their hands off this project and unveil the transformed Mandela National Stadium to Africa and the world.
I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for empowering us and enabling us develop our country through the construction industry. I also thank Mama for funding the project very well and giving us that opportunity and attending to all the problems we have had and being with us.
UPDF Engineers Brigade are now putting final touches on all construction works, and they're very optimistic that Uganda Cranes, which have been hosting home games in different places, can now feel at home.
Now, under the leadership of Chairman Gilbert Olanya, the Parliamentary Accounts Committee, PAC, convened a comprehensive meeting in Moroto Municipality. Present were accounting officers, district public accounts committee members, local leaders, resident district commissioners, and Karamoja's technocrats from 9 districts. The objective was to address challenges highlighted in the Auditor General's report.
I normally send back from the district to the central government. Yet the local people demands for so many kind of services. That is why we thought it wise as a committee to come on the ground and find out exactly what are the problems. Why is it the local governments are ever sending back the money to the central government?
One of the significant concerns raised was a swift transfer of accounting officers juxtaposed against the non-transferable of district heads of departments. Accounting officers advocated for the transferability of department heads to enhance operational efficiency.
If a district engineer knows he's not going to work for more than 5 years and is accountable for his work in that local government, he will not compromise on the length of roads from maybe 20 kilometers to 7 because the chairperson is about half a kilometer.
Or the chief finance officer, you find the chief finance officer, for example, the district like Moroto, he has been here for more than 20-30 years. Once it is recruited by the district, the person is not transferable until he or she retires. I think this one is also bogging down the activities.
During discussions, accounting officers expressed the difficulties faced while working with certain department heads, citing instances of threats and operational hindrances.
I transferred 4 million shillings this up to now in this financial year to the recovery account, only from the wealth, but why NP 0? So I called the focal person. He told me that the youth who had enterprises related to livestock have said their livestock animals were raided by the enemies. So nobody should ask them. And therefore, there's need to go slow. In what? Mr. Cow, you may have to go slow. This is Karamoja.
As we say, we are untouchable. What will Cow do? I'm in allegiance with this chairperson or with any member of political influence in the local government.
Councillors' reluctance to address district public accountant committee reports and chronic understaffing emerged as a prominent issue highlighted by many accounting officers and town clerks across the 9 districts and 2 municipalities.
I have 3 CDOs running 11 sub-counties. This CDO, there's one who is a sub-county chief somewhere, is a policy chief somewhere, is an executive officer somewhere.
District parks prepare reports, but they are not taken on by the council. Treasury memorandums have not been presented in council, and that bogs down the morale of the health department.
The so-called hospital is operating with staff, 24 staff.
Additionally, Karamoja's district chairpersons and mayors expressed dissatisfaction with funds being reverted to the central treasury and the frequent transfer of accounting officers within a short span.
We have issues with war. When we constructed the administration block, they say that's their land. Government gave us money when it was about, in February we saw that they were not clearing us, we wrote to Ministry of Finance that we want to use this money to take the office elsewhere. They told us, no, what you do, it is late. They wrote by the way. And they said, it is late, what you do, take back the money, we shall bring back. When we are following up, they are saying that one expired by 30th June this year. Why is it that it's only you give the money that they bring back?
The Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee shared their insight and pledged to diligently pursue the raised concerns.
The accounting officers are normally being transferred every now and then, and that is affecting the services in the district. Because the accounting officer may come here today, within 3 months is transferred, or all the creativity, the plans that he has for that district is not yet done.
Mining areas and marble mining areas that they are restricted to go there. But when that is their area of jurisdiction, they are wondering if they are to assess how much revenue they can get from those other places of the marble.
It is concerned with of public service, because there is no way we can expect you to achieve your results if you do not have the adequate manpower.
In commitment to improving service delivery in Karamoja, PAC assured a follow-up on the matters raised during this crucial engagement.
Now, government and civil society organizations have engaged in a dialogue to address concerns impacting the harmonization of operations in the oil and gas sector. CSOs highlighted challenges related to access of information and overzealous security agencies hindering their contribution to societal development. Government acknowledged these concerns and committed to collaboratively resolve them. Now, simultaneously, new basins in Moroto, Choga, and Hoima are under exploration for licensing.
He has disclosed plans to open new basins for petroleum exploration and licensing in Moroto, Kadam, Choga, and Hoima, where additional oil resources have been discovered.
And we are seeing some good signs of Moroto Kadam Basin having hydrocarbons, because we've encountered some oil seepages and also lithology that is responsible for generation, accumulation, and trapping of hydrocarbons.
This announcement was made during the quarterly dialogue between the government and the NGO sector on oil and gas, aiming to address pressing issues. Civil society organizations raised pertinent issues, including the overzealousness of security agencies, perception bias about CSOs, bureaucracy, and access to information.
But we think that some of the officers are so overzealous that they think by either stopping an NGO meeting or by frustrating an NGO activity, maybe that's when they will have performed.
I would have loved to know how many meetings have been held by the various civil society organizations. Then, how many have been halted?
We have laws that govern false speech, defamation, that govern every citizen in this country. Why don't you apply those laws on civil society actors? Because they are citizens.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's just our cooperation to make the lives of the citizenry all right. Where you don't understand, you ask and say, how about this matter? How about this matter?
The government revealed intentions to amend the National Petroleum Policy to address emergent issues like energy transition, anticipating 160,000 jobs from oil-related activities for Ugandans.
People are trying to transition. And transition, because of innovations, which will sustain the people of the earth, is slow. When now they say clean energy and what have you, we are moving slowly.
Minister for Internal Affairs Kahinda Otafire underscored the significance of dialogue in ensuring transparency in public affairs, cautioning against pessimism in the oil and gas sector.
Produce the oil, produce it safely, make sure that every barrel of oil you get out of the ground, we know where the money is going. That will be my greatest concern. So that this resource will turn into solace and comfort for the people of Uganda and East Africa.
The oil and gas sector comprises 4 flagship projects. The Tilenga upstream project, operated by Total in Ibulisa and Nwaya district, targeting 190,000 barrels of oil per day at peak. The Kingfisher project, managed by Sinok. The Eco project for commercialization with pipelines for oil or gas delivery as a commodity, and a refinery project with ongoing construction. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Minister of State for Energy has reassured the Ugandans about the ongoing review of laws aimed at strengthening the regulatory infrastructure for radiation and nuclear safety. This effort aims at further enhancing the regulatory framework for nuclear safety and improving technical and human competence in response to emerging nuclear power programs. Minister made these revelations while welcoming 2 new board members to the Atomic Energy Council.
The Atomic Energy Council of Uganda has welcomed 2 new council members, Charity Stella, an advocate at the High Court, and Opolot Odeke, an accountant. The organization bid farewell to outgoing council members Bazalel Kiria Kabanda and Brown Chigula Mugambe, who have completed a commendable 14-year tenure.
Present to Dr. Brown. This gift here.
Really, just to thank you for having worked so well with us.
We have been a joyous group, not only as members, but also with the staff.
Dr. Aksopel Chisolo, the chairperson of the council, has urged the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development to initiate the process of appointing new board members to fill upcoming vacancies within 6 months.
The ministry has been quite supportive to council and available whenever we need their attention. So we thank you for appointing us, the 2 new staff.
Under the leadership of the outgoing members, the chairperson reports that the Atomic Energy Council became a prominent training center on the African continent.
Resources available. Council has land over 10 acres in Mpoma to build its own home, where we have laboratories for regulatory work and analysis and whatever, and training.
Dr. Deogracius Ruwalira, the CEO of the Atomic Energy Council, reflected on the transformative journey under the outgoing members' guidance. The council witnessed an increase in staff, growing from 2 members in 2011 to over 50 in 2023.
We have conducted over 2,300 inspections and issued out over 1,500 authorizations to compliant facilities.
Lualira outlined plans to strengthen regulatory infrastructure for nuclear safety and enhance technical and human competence in light of emerging nuclear power programs,
which is a new adventure our country is venturing into. We have put in place several regulatory documents such as policies, regulations, guides, and standards, which have helped us to do our regulatory work and execute our mandate.
Minister of State for Mineral Development Peter Lokeris commended the outgoing members for their foundational role in building the Atomic Energy Council and welcomed the new members.
I want to call upon the Council to take deliberate efforts to ensure that the Atomic Energy Council has sufficient, well-trained, qualified, and motivated staff. Ensure that the country is self-sustaining in terms of technical and human capacities for licensing and inspection of all technologies and applications in the country.
The Council is actively exploring nuclear energy for practical applications, with ongoing initiatives including a pilot nuclear power program and the establishment of a nuclear research center at Soroti University. Ivan Kahua, UBC News.
In protecting our people. We pledge to continue working together.
In a significant development at the Anti-Corruption Court, bail has been granted to Magistrate Mvanonji Sylvia and Prosecutor Bako Jacqueline, both facing allegations of soliciting over 10 million Uganda shillings. Let's take a look.
Chief Magistrate Nanungi Sylvia and Resident State Anthony from Zimbabwe Magistrates Court appeared before Magistrate Joan Yachiro at the Anti-Corruption Court for their bail hearing. Notably, Magistrate Nanungi Sylvia appeared composed in court compared to the previous day. The accused, through their legal representatives, presented 3 to 4 sureties each while applying for bail. Grounds for the bail application included the bailable nature of the offences and Magistrate Mvanonji Sylvia's health complications.
The charge against A2 is a bailable offence and that he is entitled to constitutional right to be released on bail. And it's our prayer, Your Worship, that the sureties presented be found credible.
Prosecution led by Stanley Baine objected to the bail application, citing the gravity of the offences against the accused and urging court to deny them bail.
Pray that this court finds that the sureties presented have not demonstrated their capacity. However, and without prejudice, should this honorable court exercise its discretion to grant bail, it is our humble prayer that stringent conditions are given.
It is tried law, and the same has been decided, that the gravity of offences and the severity of the sentence that they attract cannot and should not be considered as a ground for denial of bail.
Magistrate Joan Yachiro considered the presented sureties and granted bail to the accused.
Mr. Muwagula Robert has presented his work identity card. These demonstrate employment and source of income. A1 will make a cash deposit of 1,500,000. A2 will make a cash deposit of 800,000 shillings. A1's sureties are bonded to 50 million shillings each, not cash.
However, 2 of the Magistrate Nanungi's sureties, Zerida Kakai and Nakato Rehema, were objected by the court for failure to provide work identification. The case is scheduled for mention on November 19, 2023. The prosecution alleges that In April 2022, Mvanungi Sylvia and Bako Jacqueline solicited over 10 million from Johnny Ambasiza and Mulangila Franco to secure bail for Kalinto Zadakia and drop charges against Eric Sabit. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
And Fort Portal Tourism City has called for extension of the USMID project following pressure to complete infrastructural works. The Uganda Support Municipalities Infrastructure Development project works in the city stands at 75%, yet the project deadline is on 6th December this year.
Timujungu, the Deputy Mayor Fort Portal, the city is financially incapacitated to continue works on the project after the December deadline, expressing need for extension.
After 6th December, if we are not done by 6th December, then the city will have to incur the costs of having the roads complete. And we also know that as a city, we don't have the capacity. That's not the capacity that we have to complete the road ourselves. We do request for more time so that we have a fully complete project, because when it's left like that, then it's a gone case. It's work that is not complete. When that is given to us, the more time, I know that we will have a project that will benefit and the people of Fort Portal City, of course, enhancing public service delivery in terms of infrastructure.
The terms of the project require cities and municipalities to complete the project within the stipulated time period, and failure to comply hold the city responsible for the completion of the remaining works using their own funds.
The contract is expected to end on the 6th of December. I can assure you, no miracle can be performed to have the remaining 25% completed in a period of 2 weeks. So extension certainly is inevitable, and we are going to advise that the extension be given. However, the challenge we are also having is that we should be thinking of that extension in relation to the overall project extension by the World Bank.
Joseph Pade, the Commissioner, Urban Development, says government of Uganda is in discussions with World Bank for the extension of the project, as some municipalities are still behind schedule.
Extension arrangements are being worked on between the government of Uganda and the World Bank. But as it is now, we are not very sure if the World Bank will give that extension. So we shall still work within some available frameworks to have this work completed.
And the Ministry of Health's Permanent Secretary, Dr. Diana Twine, has stressed the pivotal role of adolescent girls and young women in ending pediatric HIV by 2030 during the national launch of the Global Alliance to End AIDS in Children. Dr. Twine highlighted gaps in ensuring early identification and consistent medication for children living with HIV, despite significant achievements in combating the disease.
The Ministry of Health has launched the National Global Alliance to End AIDS in Children by 2030. The Permanent Secretary, Dr. Diana Twine, noted that despite the strides made to end HIV, there are still many gaps in programming for children.
So, the early infant diagnosis coverage within the first 2 months of age has improved. We have made quite big progress of 81, but that is not enough. 81 is not acceptable still. We need to get to 100.
At some moment, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Diana Twine, got emotional and told the delegation to get out of their comfort zone and talk to the children in order to change the narrative.
I'm so emotional. I'm so emotional because when I talk to these children, I just walked out and cried. Those young people out there need us to get there, sit with them, listen to them. For me, I'm emotional because I have 3 girls that are adolescents. And I when I looked at these children, I was like, I'm their mother, my goodness. I say, oh my God, these are my children. 12 years, 13 years. How on earth? How can we just continue like life is like that is normal? We must get out of our comfort zone. We must. Talking is not enough. Launching plans are not enough. Strategies are not enough. We must get where these young people are.
The Director General, Dr. Henry Mwebasa, emphasized the need to expand case finding to diagnose the remaining 23% to achieve the initial 95 UNAIDS target. He also revealed public service approval for recruiting personnel across various health facilities in the country.
We had a meeting in the Ministry of Public Service, which we have requested for since the beginning of the financial year, with respect to the recruitment of core cadres of staff that we need. The anesthetists we need in health center force, the midwives, the nurses, the specialists, at least where we have a budget and we have that kind of money, which would be going back at the end of the financial year if that money is not utilized. And yet, that money was released to the sector. And you recall there is a ban on recruitment, and it can only be Cabinet and Ministry of Public Service that can remove that ban. We received the nod, and we are allowed to recruit the staff, at least for the salaries that we have.
The Global Alliance for Ending AIDS among Children is aimed at accelerating progress in eliminating vertical transmission for HIV and ending AIDS among children in Uganda. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
And residents of Buwama Town Council Mpigi District have appealed to the district authorities and the central government to consider recruiting sign language interpreters so as to cater for people with disabilities who access healthcare services in public health centers. This was during a one-day community healthcare scorecard assessment with the residents by a local NGO, Joy Initiatives Uganda, at Buwama Health Center 3.
Despite the availability of drugs in rural government health facilities, there is still need for the district, local authorities and central government to consider recruiting more sign language interpreters to cater for people with disabilities who access public health services. This was during a community health engagement with Joy Initiatives Uganda, a local NGO, and Buwama Town Council residents in Mpigi District at Buwama Health Center 3. Grace Nabisere, the Joy Initiatives Uganda Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, explains the significance of the engagement.
From the findings, we found that the community of the persons living with disability is not accessing the health service in a proper way. The access roads to the departments are not right. Those with hearing impairment, they don't have sign language interpreters at the health center, and so they cannot really access the service.
The residents also observed the need to translate the various health educational materials into local languages as well as sign language interpreters.
Ekisangibwa ku ddwaliro lyaffe lino erya Buwama, omuntu bw'ajja nga tayogera ng'akozesa sign language afuna obuzibu.
People with disabilities still have a problem with sign language.
Okusomozebwa kwe tusanga wano ku ddwaliro ng'abaliko obulemu we bagirako omusaayi madaala.
People with disabilities, access to VCT is still a challenge.
The Community Health Care Scorecard is part of the ongoing Joy Initiatives Uganda social interventions activities in health, education in the sub-counties of Buwama and Kamengo, mainly targeting the youth and women and the fishing communities.
Well, with that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details.
Jovia. Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ageewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kumu ku kye ky'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Prof Bio Research abawanguzi ba awadi ya Best East African Brand 2023 bakutegekedde omusomo. The Great Sundowner 8 Sante zimera kumiti obukubirawo kubanga 26 November paka nga 2 December Wikotorio Mall Hall Rooftop omusomesa waffe yomukenkufu Nyanzi Julius ekyuma kiwagala kyuma musansi ne tekinologiya mwe muli okukola ebigimusa okuva mu pampa z'abaana n'enjazi za Vermiculite okukamula omubisi mu menvu ng'embidde ng'okozesa ekyuma okutandikawo obukolero ng'okukola sabuni wa habo n'okukola ebibiriiti kugateka ennima ey'omulembe ng'okulima ekitiko okutukwa abakadde kanodama mushroom okulima ensogasoga jangu oyiga okugattako omutindo gamba ng'okukola ebizigo n'omubisi okuva mu kigaji okukamula butto mu nsogasoga nga tiketi ya $10,000 ng'ofunirako tule y'amagi ga safurani n'ekitiko kya ganodama saa 3 ez'okumakya nga tutandika buukinga tiketi yo ng'ogigula ku mobile money ku noti 7 noti 3 152
Lagos. Jovia. Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ageewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kumu ku kye ky'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. As communities navigate the intricate landscape of oil and gas resources, a recent development workshop spearheaded by CNOC urged local farmers to formalize their groups with the government. This move, emphasized by key figures like James Okwi from the Petroleum Authority of Uganda and re-echoed by RDC Amlan Tumusime, stands as a crucial remedy to unlock opportunities within this sector. Join us as we explore the insights and challenges shared by industry experts and local representatives, shedding light on the path towards leveraging oil and gas prospects within the region.
During the National Content Supplier Development Workshop held in Chikube, stakeholders emphasized the critical need for local communities to formalize their groups with the government, marking a gateway to harnessing oil and gas resources. James Okwi, representing the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, highlighted the regulatory steps necessary for locals to access specific goods and services earmarked for their benefit within the oil and gas sector. Stressing the importance of full registration with relevant offices, Okwi underlined the prerequisite for suppliers to be listed in the National Supply Database, a key requirement for engagement in this industry.
Complaints of companies going to buy tomatoes from Nakasero, going to buy vegetables or fruits from Nakasero. We have encouraged them to change their approach now that the farmers are organized, and from the testimonies here, they claim the quality of their products is now good, and that means that there is no more reason for these companies that have got contracts to go to Kampala to procure these products. So,
responding to this call, RDC Chikube District Amlan Tumusime acknowledged the challenge and extended a plea to collaborate with communities, urging them to prioritize group registration.
But now what we are saying is, how can we even improve to ensure that we increase on the number of the local people supplying to the big companies, and then the big companies finally supply to the local companies.
This discourse also witnessed Alan Kalamani of Pure Grow Uganda express dissatisfaction with certain companies expected to supply, indicating underlying issues within the supply chain.
They are not told that they are green, no. They know what they are doing. If they can order through and say the farmers supply, they will go back to the farmers, they know the standard. We have trained them and we have been getting vegetables from them.
Ruth Kobusinge, representing the chairperson LC5, encouraged farmers to leverage the knowledge gained from the workshop to uplift their participation in the oil and gas business, emphasizing the importance of self-improvement and adaptation. Inclusive voices from local farmers echoed the significance of the CNOC National Content Supplier Development Training, recognizing the imperative role of formalized local groups in seizing the opportunities embedded in the oil and gas sector. The workshop's call to action reverberated through the region, emphasizing the necessity of aligning with governmental structures as a gateway to tapping into these valuable resources.
Let us go into real business. We have the groups and you give us direct business and we do business.
Now, more than 10,000 families residing in 3 villages on Buganda and government land within Busukuma County, Wakiso district, are in distress, facing potential eviction from their ancestral Ibanja, where they have lived for over 60 years. Residents of Bukemba, Majenje and Chizaula villages in Busukuma sub-county recount receiving eviction threats despite consistently paying Wusulu to the landlord, adhering to the Land Act.
In a plea for intervention, these families urge both Buganda and the central government to clarify the circumstances surrounding the eviction threats, expressing dismay despite their compliance with payments to the Omutongole. The community's call for clarification was made during a meeting attended by thousands, including Deputy RDC Shafiq Ali Nsubuga, in charge of Nasana Municipality, and Wakaima Musoke, the area member of Parliament.
tosobola kubeera ingolooza nti onootusindiikiriza ng'asindiikiriza ekyonziira ekyo tekisoboka bw'obeera ogambe tetaka lyange kale bamundageko bulazagamba tetaka lirye aganya butakufafagalona zemubuulira ate abatuuze ngeri mubeera omuntu omu mubeera omuntu atya.
Deputy RDC Shafiq Ali Subuga acknowledged the complexity of the land situation, indicating parts belonging to the central government and Buganda Land Board. He stressed the need for land surveying, but cautioned against unauthorized surveying, assuring the communities of protection against unlawful evictions.
Njagala chairman, as the RDC of this area, kumanya busuulwa abantu badde mu mujjawa, ani abaddaabula, atwage ekyapa kwasinziira.
MP Wakaima Msoke emphasized the importance of communal collaboration in resolving land disputes and called upon Buganda Land Board to engage with and inform the affected communities about the specifics of the land under their jurisdiction.
Our Buganda Land Board beeyigiriza okutuuka ku muntu okumunnyonnyola oba ettaka baalitunze nakyo kitetukigaana. We lose nothing to tell us ettaka twalitunda era twaliguze ono era eno ya.
And Cipla Quality Chemicals has emerged with a debt-free status and promise of a financial boost as a new majority shareholder prepares to inject funds, positioning the company to tackle obstacles on the horizon. During the company's investor breakfast in Kampala, Cipla revealed that shareholders can now expect added value amid prospects of innovative technologies introduced by Africa Works, the incoming stakeholder.
IPO, many Ugandans bought in shares, organizations like the National Social Security Fund did open up shares, they did buy shares, the South African Investment Corporation did, and a number of other local companies.
In terms of share price, again, it's a market sentiment. I mean, as a company, our job as a management is to create value for our shareholders, and we continue to work towards it, and our financial performance keeps on improving. Whether it reflects in share price or not is, I do believe, is a sentiment issue. Yes, there are some.
We apologize for that. Traffic on the Mbale Tirinyi Iganga Road came to a standstill for over 3 hours due to impassioned protests by communities residing near River Mpologoma. The demonstrators expressed their frustration by blocking the highway, citing police inaction in removing a body of an unidentified woman allegedly murdered by unknown assailants 3 weeks ago and dumped in the river. Now in business news, the relaunch of MV Umoja onto Lake Victoria waters transport routes provides opportunities to Uganda's exporters and importers to boost the utilization of the Central Corridor route. It's for this reason that a business delegation from Tanzania is in the country to meet and brainstorm with various stakeholders on the operationalization of the Wagon ferry.
Tanzanian delegation led by Eric Hamisi, the managing director of the Marine Services Company Limited, have been in Uganda for stakeholder engagement geared at boosting water transport between the Lake Victoria port of Manza and Port Bell in Luzira, a Kampala suburb. The meeting follows the recent relaunch of the rehabilitated MV Umoja on the route.
The whole essence of business is minimize cost and maximize revenue, not profit, revenue. And maybe serving better by having timely delivery of raw material and finished products wherever you want to take them. So we are going to solve all these two issues, which are the major components in business undertaking.
The resumption of the ferry is hailed by Uganda's private sector body and freight and logistics players. As promised, they expect the vessel to increase efficiency in transporting large cargo volume at once and at an affordable price.
Just in case of a fire on board, or in case of a leakage and there is a spill in the water, do you have the teams to handle that?
I know Umoja have that sprinkler system. In the press,
And we used to use it and test it. And fortunately, but when I was a commander, and I think up to now, we have not get such a calamity.
We have capacity to do so much more on these waters. So we were even having other people come and bring more ferries because they feel the capacity is not enough.
Although the roll-on, roll-off wagon ferry is of great relief to the exporters and importers who utilize the central corridor, concerns of high cost of transportation are raised.
We are doing 90% of our cargo movement on road, and we pay about $1.8 US dollars per kilometer. $1.8 per kilometer, I think something like that. And when it should be actually about $1. You can already see that we are 80% more expensive, whether in terms of what we export or in terms of what we import in the country.
According to the officials from the Marine Services Company Limited, the company will transport cargo at competitive prices and at a shorter transit time, which will consequently lower the cost of doing business in the entire region. Dennis Ikoa for UBC Business.
And in sports, a squad of 23 players has been finalized to represent Uganda at the upcoming Cipla Under-18 Boys Championship slated to kick off this weekend in Kenya.
As the Cipla Under-18 Boys Championships draw near, scheduled from November 25th to December 9th, 2023, Uganda's Under-18 national team showcases their preparedness for the tournament. The selected squad comprises 3 goalkeepers, 7 defenders, 8 midfielders and 5 forwards, meticulously chosen after intense training sessions and skill assessments. This well-rounded team promises a formidable challenge for their opponents. In a final friendly match against Biko Bull FC on Wednesday, the Under-18s emerged victorious with a 2-1 scoreline, further solidifying their confidence.
We finalized with a friendly game. We played with Bidiko and we managed to win that game 2-1. The boys really played well. We are positive.
Their head coach expresses confidence despite acknowledging the tough opponents awaiting Uganda in Group B. He remains optimistic about the team's potential to secure qualification for the knockout rounds.
As you know, the competition is a bit tricky. We are in a group of death. This is what we can say, because the superpowers of East African football are in our group. Tanzania, Zanzibar, which are the under-15 champions, and South Sudan. I think we need to work extremely hard to see that we overcome that group. It won't be easy, but we shall do our best to see that we qualify.
English best defender Derek Luzinda missed the chance to make his national team debut after failing to secure a spot in the squad for the Cipla Under-18s tournament. Mashamiro Victor, UBC News.
Does it for News Tonight. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the hour. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education, and this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us